Hello, and welcome to the stream. I'm the Chris who plays games, playing retro games every Monday at 9:15, whatever I feel like every Friday at 9:15. This week we're playing my first ever TurboGrafx16 game, Bonk's Adventure. Of course, the TurboGrafx16 had two 8-bit processors, not the one in the NES competitor of the day, so it's fancier in many different ways, and we're going to see how it plays out tonight. Thank you all for being here. I hope you'll have a lovely evening with me as we play through Bonk's Adventure. Hello, Mr. Stingray. Hello, Van Helsing and James. Hello, Matzo and Zio Kim. Good to see you. Good to see you. You know, I think so. Soymon was talking about this a little bit on his Discord. I've seen very little of it. I'm aware it exists, and know pretty much nothing else about the Mega Man 11. Oh, I guess I don't just jump on guys like I would have in Mario. I have to use my giant head, so that's a good thing to learn. So Mega Man 11 has been announced, I guess, by Capcom. I think it's exciting that they're doing something with the series after a bajillion years, and that's pretty cool. But I am a little bit worried that the modern style of game development and releasing and everything else like that will kind of taint a little bit of the way that these things are done. So I don't know. I have no strong opinions one way or the other, I guess, is my current state, because I have not really read anything about it and don't have strong opinions, but it'll be interesting to see. You know, I think that there's a lot in the gaming industry these days which can be, I don't know. I don't even know really what it is. It just feels a little bit different than it used to. Oh, let's grab this thing. I don't know what it does. I guess I'm now angry. So that's good. Oh, I turned everyone into stone. Okay. I'll take that. So one thing about this game is that if you are walking over an edge, the way you walk over an edge is very much you fall vertically down rather than kind of maintaining your forward motion over the side. So that is kind of not what I expected. Hello, Soybomb! Yeah, so I was just mentioning your name, Soybomb. So what is your thoughts on the Mega Man 11 announcement? As a big fan of the Mega Man series, I know you were mentioning earlier you fear a little bit what will happen in the modern era of gaming as we look at Mega Man 11 with you know, microtransactions or whatever else like that exists in the world we have today. But I don't have strong opinions because I wasn't paying that much attention to it, but you're really my local Mega Man expert anyway, so I would just look to whatever Soybomb says is truth. You're turning yourself into Napalm Man. You're excited for it. Well, that's good. It's being done by Capcom, I assume, right? They're not like giving it over to somebody else. I am definitely, you know, I love Mega Man. The only problem I have is that I know a lot of people love the Mega Man X series, and I don't. And so that is a thing that I worry about as a non-lover of the X series, is that I hate wall jumps. I like sliding and I hate wall jumps, so, well, so the TurboGrafx16 had two 8-bit processors, I guess, and so that's different. I don't really know anything other than that. I have looked very little at it or about it or anything else like that. I do know that this game has a little a CPG hat, so that's cool. I don't know how I get this guy to open his mouth. I know I did it once. I thought... I'm confused. I have an issue here. So I don't know if is this a built-in part of the thing? Like, why do I have a go backwards in time button? Was that the select button on Bonk's Adventure on the TurboGrafx? No, I'm really confused here. Like, what am I? Maybe there's another thing I have to hit somewhere in the level. Okay, so that's my emulator doing that for me. Apparently the button that I use for select is also my go backwards in time button. So that's good to know and have. Ugh. Oh, there you go. See, other people know what's going on. Soy Mom, I can't believe that you would, you know, I know that you don't use an emulator for things. That would be something you would never admit on a stream. Hello, Brad. How's it going? Anyway, I don't... Stingray, you asked a question and I don't understand the question. What's the difference between search term and video game in Google Trends? I feel like maybe you were trying to ask something different because video game and search term are not two things I would consider to be similar at all. But I would need more information, I guess. I'm pretty sure this game just glitched out. Alright. So I tried that. But it did not work. So I really what happened last time is that I destroyed there was like a little like plant in front of it, and when I destroyed that plant, it just opened up when I was doing my test run. So for whatever reason, that did not happen this time, and I'm going to assume that it was either an emulator or a game glitch, and try it again and see if it works out better this time. I tried to bonk the dino, it didn't work. Sometimes when I look at trends, it does not have the game. Instead, it gives me the search term. I honestly, I have no idea what you're talking about, Stingray. So clearly, this is some UI or interface I'm not used to. Anyway, well, in any case, I've gone back in time now by dying and continuing. Look, just because they wear white skulls on their heads does not make them Klansmen. Let's not be silly. But yeah, so the one thing I've noticed about this is definitely you don't want to just walk off the edge of a ledge because it's much slower than jumping off of it. You lose all your momentum if you just walk off the edge, so. Alright, let's try this again. With less stinking it up. So yeah, Mega Man 11, I am tentatively excited for. I did not ever get Mighty Number 9, but I do know that a lot of people found it to not be a good spiritual successor to Mega Man. The reality is that as far as Mega Man-like games go, I still adore Shovel Knight. I think it's a good spiritual successor, although as Game Maker's Toolkit pointed out in their kind of review and breakdown of why Shovel Knight is a terrific game, it's also a game that is intentionally not mimicking only a single style. There's a lot of different things it's pulling from, which allows it to kind of, even if it's not perfect at any of them, to kind of benefit from all of them, which is a useful takeaway. So in Mighty Number 9 attempted to be a Mega Man only kind of revamped, reliving experience. Obviously that's different when you're working directly with the IP and working directly with everything else like that, but it'll be interesting to see how that works out in the Mega Man series. I really, you know, Mega Man is for me, I know there's been some more recent stuff, but for me, Mega Man is really a game that lives in the era of the NES and a little bit the Super Nintendo, and it'll be interesting to see how they kind of carry that forward. I mean, I loved the new Sonic that just came out, Sonic Mania. So, you know, it was very true to the original Sonic, but that was done as a fan project, really. So, we'll see if they can kind of come up with the same level of stuff. So here's what I did last time, is that I came over here and I jumped on this thing, and he opened up. Okay, I had to bonk on his CPG hat. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry. Cursor capture. I apologize. Let me fix that so that I don't have that problem later. I have not actually used Bizhawk before, and so I had never actually set up a source for Bizhawk. Alright, yeah, because being inside, I'm not in his blood, I'm in his stomach acid. There's a difference. Oh, crap. Like, even dinosaurs don't have fishes swimming in their blood. Our names are already on her cast, Van Helsing. So she got the cast, the cast that we could sign about a month ago now. So she's got all kinds of signatures on it. I don't think Julie wrote anything on it, but I wrote "Don't Break a Leg," and you know, Jess, of course, being the cute person that she is, wrote, what was it? Looking for a new parkour instructor, and one other thing that I've forgotten. Alright, I don't think I can get in there. So we will just go this way. I don't know what these little spermy dudes are supposed to be, but we'll see. I do all my own stunts, that's right. So yeah, hopefully Van Helsing, what she's getting will not be another cast, but will instead be one of those walking boots that you can actually take off, so that I think Jess would really like to be able to take a shower or trim her toenails without having to worry about, you know, getting a cast wet. So we'll have to see how that goes. Gosh darn it. This like full heart damage is wrecking me. Ah! Yeah, so I am now, well, at least I got that. I've got 2 hearts out of the 3 lives that I start with, so 9 total hearts. I'm down to 2. This is going really well for me so far. Yeah, not a cat, whatever, a boot. Oh god! Okay. Are you gonna like shoot at me, or? Oh, I can jump up here. Okay. I did not realize these things that I thought were in the background were actually... Ah! Alright, that's right. Keep blowing your snot bubbles. Hello, Judah! I feel a lot better. Why? I'm your new friend. You were just trying to blow snot bubbles at me. Also, what's with the weird-ass toupee? Arf, arf, arf. You're not a freaking dog. You're like a dinosaur. Yeah, don't worry about it, Judovic. Way to go. Alright, 1 level down. 1 level down. It seems like a good omen, right? Oh, friggity frick. That was... Note to self, don't head bonk the cactuses. That's probably something I probably could have figured out had I thought about it, but whatever. Can't always be thoughtful. Oh, fuck. Why? I don't understand what that yellow thing is, or if it's supposed to help me or what, but I don't like it. I assumed that it would help me get more points if points was a thing I cared about, but... I mean, having few levels is actually much less important than the other thing, which is that it has unlimited continues. Unlimited continues, of course, being the single most important thing that any game can include. Of course, there is still the problem of the levels are... you know, not extremely short, so I've got to figure out how to get through them without dying in order to be able to use those continues effectively, but still, better than nothing. Can I go through these, like, door things? No, they're just there. The bad flowers wink at me. Alright, good to know. Oh no. Ow, and I'm dead. Okay. So there is a version of Bonk's Adventure on the NES. The version on the NES definitely looks less good. So one of the things you'll notice if you look carefully at Bonk is that he has this kind of like nice gradient on his face and other things like that. And if you are versed in the well-versed in the NES graphical limitations, you'll know that the palettes are limited. So any 8x8 square with a single sprite, and you can't really use multiple sprites in the same spot. Well, you can, but it becomes an issue for other reasons. Will only have 3 colors plus transparency. And so in this case, where you've got this kind of shading on his head, as well as the kind of very large sprite for Bonk, and really the very detailed sprites on just about everything, that's kind of a sign that you're not, like, that's the type of thing that you wouldn't really be able to do with the NES graphics setup. It just wasn't, it didn't have that capability. And that's part of what gives these different systems their kind of iconic looks, is the limitations of the graphic system at the time. So whether it is the color limitations or the number of sprites on a screen or other things like that, all those things matter. So in the case of Bonk's Adventure, one of the things you'll notice is that they probably do the hearts in the upper left with sprites, and so the hearts are only, instead of being these kind of nice, you know, rounded hearts that you get here, are just 8x8 sprites in the NES version, and look much less nice. Now, one of the reasons that you have to use fewer sprites is, one, there's a pretty strict limit on number of sprites per number of sprites on the screen at any given time. So I think the limit is the number of, like, you can only have, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, this doesn't hurt me. Okay. I make no defense of the Android emoji, other than they are well considered. It does not mean I agree with the decision, but it was not made thoughtlessly. I think oftentimes people think that just because a decision is something that they personally disagree with, that it was a thoughtless decision, that, like, oh, if you were a sane thinking person, you clearly wouldn't have done this, because no sane thinking person can do this. And I feel like that is not true of the Android emoji. I think that the people who work on that spend a lot of time coming up with something that I don't personally enjoy. So I like to call out that these things are not accidental. The fact that you don't like them does not make them accidental. Anyway, so yeah, so because the reason they probably used a limited number of sprites for that thing in the corner is that if you were to use, in this case, for example, well, I also think you'd get more hearts at some point, but you can only have 8 sprites per line on an NES, I'm pretty sure. Maybe it's 7. So this is the reason why sometimes when you fire bullets in Mega Man, you've got 3 different bullets going, and each one, and on the screen, is taking up a sprite location, and when you get too many, the right-hand stuff on the screen, the right-hand sprite on the screen just won't draw. So this is just a limitation of the graphics processing hardware that existed on the NES at the time, is that you just can't draw that many things. How do I... Can I not get in there? I want to get in there! Nope. The only thing I will say is that the NES version handles the wall climbing in a different way. You just hold up to do it rather than, like, pressing the jump/chew button repeatedly. And I like the NES version better. I definitely feel like I'm gonna have some repetitive strain injuries in this wrist by the time I'm done here. So yeah, there's a lot of different graphics differences. The kind of the flickering in the background that you see here is something you wouldn't usually see on NES. You've also got parallax scrolling, although that's frankly, I think, fake parallax scrolling, which might be implementable on the NES, but it would definitely be hard. But in reality, it's basically, this was a 16-bit graphics processor, and it shows. So there's a lot of aspects in which the graphical differences here matter. Now, if you're not looking closely, and it's not something you care a lot about, I expect you could play the NES Bonk's Adventure and not really notice these things. It's really, you kind of end up looking for them in order to see them. But after, I think Brad said, you know, if you're going to play this game, you should really play the TurboGrafx version, which was kind of annoying because I didn't know, I was like, I have no idea what I should even use for TurboGrafx emulator, and I googled it and found like a couple of really bad recommendations, like Mednafan, which didn't even start, and then some other thing which was like entirely in Japanese and didn't work well. And then I found out Bizhawk can do it, an emulator that I have and have used in order to run like a Tetris tool-assisted, you know, player that I used to demo a long time ago, where an AI/computer could play Tetris for you. And I was like, oh, well, I have that, and just ended up using that instead. So, yeah, the reason I was actually even thought of it is that Bonk's Adventure on the NES was very rare, and so there's not a lot of copies made of it. And there was a so I've been watching a series on YouTube from John Riggs called Open Cart Surgery, where he basically takes apart NES cartridges and other cartridges and tries to fix them when they're not working. And someone sent him his Bonk's Adventure cartridge and tried to get it working. The problem is, like, Bonk's Adventure is like a $600 game. Like, people buy the cartridge for $600. I think it's game form. Not sure. It's in the description below. There you go. Oh, that's interesting. Did it actually start me on 2-4? Oh, is 2-4 the first level of 2? Anyway, so yeah, I was very surprised that you know, that Bonk's Adventure was so rare on the NES, and it just reminded me to look at it and check it out. And I mean, I remember Bonk's Adventure as a thing from when I was a kid. You know, I remember the idea of it. I remember, you know, hitting things with your big head. In fact, when I've played Adventure Island, which is the skateboard game with the hatchets, right? The tomahawks, rather. I had oftentimes been thinking of Bonk. Those two characters remind me a lot of each other. So I was happy to, you know, have an interesting retro game and you know, see that. But the reason that I thought to look into, like, why is this such a big deal, was the NES version was very late in the NES time frame and was super rare, and as a result sells regularly now on eBay. Like a couple a week are selling for $500, which is crazy. By the way, hello Tony, it's good to see you. Do I remember Caveman Games? I do not remember Caveman Games, no. Yep, Judah, you can put requests in there. Doesn't mean I'll necessarily play them. I tend to look through every now and then and pick out some things that I want to play, but you know, I don't play everything just because it goes in there. I've had people make some really bad recommendations, so I will probably never play Friday the 13th on the NES, and a couple other things that are in there. So. Click the link. There's a link up there. It says game form is blah blah blah. And that's the one you want to click on. Alright. Ow! Damn it. Yeah, so on Android, streaming a mobile game is actually very easy. Unfortunately, on iOS, it's harder. In order to play it, your game has to play it easily through YouTube Gaming. Your game has to support, what's it called? I don't know, whatever, Replay Kit, which I don't think Super Mario Run does. However, I think what's it called? The people who do the Stream Deck, Elgato just added support to their game studio to play to capture via lightning cable, so you can just plug in your iPad to your computer, start up game capture, and play from there. So the epileptic flashing? I don't know. I think I was getting hit by something. Oh, it's when I'm standing in the mud, it does damage to me, and because they didn't have another way to confirm that or display that, they decided that flashing the entire screen red was a good way, which isn't like terrible, but it's not great. Yeah, so you can do an AirPlay capture, or like I said, the alternative is that now it's just built directly into game capture, Elgato's software. So just depends on whichever you want. I don't think there's any reason to prefer one over the other. The nice thing about the Elgato software is that it's got built-in support for like streaming directly and overlays and everything else like that. But I trust other people that there are better ways to do it. Depending on what you want. I just don't know much about it because I have, for a long time, did not have a iOS mobile device that I would use, so. And Helsing, there are many games that sell for more than hundreds of dollars, yeah. But in particular, the Bonk's Adventure for NES is one of the ones that sells on eBay for several $100s. Did I say computer version? I don't know. I hate, like, sometimes people say things and I'm like, I have no idea if I said that or not. Yeah, basically, a lot of the games I think that were produced late in the NES life cycle were, like, just not sold for as long and therefore have a lot more rarity. The reality is that people pay ridiculous rates for all kinds of ridiculous things, that something being rare is just a reason for it to be, that. Is there a way to hook up our NES Classic meaningfully? Yes, there is. But why would you? Like that, like the NES Classic, you can just play the games that are on the in the emulator. Oh, you mean on the TV? Yeah, it's the Super Nintendo Classic is hooked up downstairs. That is currently plugged into the TV on one of the inputs. I've played games from essentially everything. I've played Windows 3.1 games, I've played games that were on Windows 95, I've played modern PC games, I've played NES, Amiga, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, N64, not Amiga, Atari. I've never played an Amiga. I don't even know what an Amiga is. Like, I'm aware of the name. They did computers or something? Like, I know I sound like I'm being stupid, but I honestly know the brand name Amiga and cannot think off the top of my head what they actually built. I should actually start paying attention to my life instead of just trying to brute force my way through this entire thing, because it seems like I'm not going to be able to just do that, so... Well, Soy Bomb, I'm just trying to think through all the things I've done. You know, I've got that game list that I keep, and I'm, like, going through all the things on it. I don't think I've ever played Slingo. Slingo's like a slot machine bingo or something, right? I'm probably just making that up. God damn it. No one gave me a chance to play it. I specifically bought Zelda so that Jess could play it because I knew that on the Switch, because I knew that she was a big Switch fan, and she played it for like 10 minutes and was like, I don't like it, and never played it again. So I don't know how I feel about the comment that no one gave her a chance to play. Oh, okay, so these swinging things are like ropes, and if I manage them well, I can just kind of jump through the entire level. So I should do that. Okay, not the entire level. Oh, don't land in mud. Don't land in mud. Oh god, so much damage. I didn't see any health ups. Health ups look like hearts. Was there a health up? These are just points. Everything that's out here is just points. Did I miss a health item? I'm not smart, okay? Look. Yeah, that is a little bit of a confusion, but you can tell what hurts you because it makes the entire screen turn a color. Oh, they do? Oh, okay. Well, then I guess I should actually try and get the fruits. I did not realize that. God damn it. The small health up they were giving me was not sufficient to make it obvious. Monsters, Inc. is a great movie. I liked it a lot. It's one that I watched with the kids a lot when they were growing up. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Our copy actually was watched enough that it got broken. The disc got scratched, so. I think the more amazing thing, Soy Bomb, is that people enjoy, like, collect enough that they are willing to pay hundreds of dollars for an inferior version of this. That amazes me even more. It was a public corporation. They were basically, actually no, it was a private corporation. Water News worked with the government, but he was private, and that was basically the entire plot point of the movie, was that he was attempting to make more money. You know, it's basically, they basically ran the power company, and he was trying to basically extract more money and increase his profits. And there was a whole thing about the abuse of children that was going to have to be done in order to do that. Now, I understand, Brad, that your opinion would be that abuse of children is something that should be encouraged, not discouraged, but that was not the opinion of the general group that was doing this. Whoa, I can just go around trees! Oh, that would have been a really useful thing to know. Alright, so that changes things. Do the smiley faces give me life too? Like, should I be fetching all of these things? That didn't seem to do much for me. Have a good night, AWOL! But yes, the central point behind Monsters, Inc. is that the kind of evil head of the Monsters, Inc. Corporation, which obtains energy for the city of, I don't know, Monstervillia or whatever, wants to change from the practice of having monsters go into children's bedrooms and scare them in order to extract scream energy, and instead wants to... so instead of extracting scream energy from them by scaring them, he has developed a machine which can extract scream energy much more, much more effectively. But it does it by they kidnap the children and torture them, so they get all of their screams out of them. It is not entirely clear to me how this was going to work, like whether you can only do this once and then the child's used up and you put them back or whatever. That part was never really explained in the movie, but it was very much the central plot point. Hello, down system. I mean, this game doesn't feel unfair so far to me. I have to actually pay attention to it, which is a little bit hard. You know, I'm kind of used to the Mario style of platformer where you can just kind of run around and do whatever you want. I don't think these smiley faces are doing anything for me as far as life goes, so. No, the 101, what are you talking about, Brad? You got it 100% backwards. The 101 does not have better views. Unless the views you want are of, like, the office parks along 101, in which case, yeah, I guess, but 280 has great views. I love driving 280. Hello, Avery Johnson. Good to see you. Hello, Down System. Good to see you as well. All right. What do we got going on here? What do we got going on here? No, 280. I mean, the reality, Brad, is that I drive, when I'm driving in the Bay Area, I'm driving at 9 in the morning. There's traffic everywhere I go. But going from Mountain View towards San Bruno, traffic is much better on, well, the 280 is longer, but takes the same amount of time, and is prettier, so. Oh, okay, Zeokim. Well, it depends. Is it related to my job, or is it related to how to have a beautiful bald head, or what kind of thing are we talking about here? Because I can offer some kinds of advice, but not many. Oh god. Yeah. No, that's absolutely correct. I only go to the boring parts of the bay. I basically arrive, like, the San Francisco airport is literally like 4 miles from the YouTube office, or less, actually. Like, if you could, if it was possible to walk across 101 in any sane way, it would be 100% possible to walk from the car rental center of SFO Airport to the YouTube office in about 45 minutes. So most of my travel ends up being directly between you know, that, like, was it Mountain View and SFO. Live streaming on YouTube. What do you want to know about live streaming on YouTube? Live streaming on YouTube uses a piece of broadcast software like OBS or XSplit. You decide what you want to broadcast, you put it in your software, you push the button, and go. I mean, there is, yeah, I don't know. I looked at one point, the reason that, I mean, Bean is definitely where it's at. I definitely agree with that. We all know that YouTube gaming is dying. All my stuff's getting demonetized. It's crazy. Well, step 1, get a good computer. Step 2, get a good internet connection. Step 3, profit. Ah, except there's no profit, but... Oh my god! Everybody, 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 out of my way. I didn't even see anything up there. That's cool. Whoa! Oh, what the? That's, Vine was swinging forward, I would like to say. Thank you very much. I mean, the reality is if you're getting lag, I mean, lag means a lot of different things. It's not a very useful statement, but, so there's no reason that you can't stream 720p at 2.5 megabits per second. It is absolutely fine to do that. I did it for a year, and even now I'm streaming at 5 megabits per second, so on a typewriter, god damn. Yeah, I mean, the pager notification market was definitely a key one that we were missing for a long time. I have a question. So Soybomb, you kind of don't plan your streams out very far ahead in advance. Do you actually set up a schedule for your stream before you begin it? Like, do you schedule, like, my stream will start in 45 minutes, or do you just go live when you go live? Okay, you do set up stream now events. That's right, you used events for a long time, so for you that was an obvious question. Okay, I was talking to the PM of the notifications team today, and so Jose has recently been like, what the heck? Like, why am I getting notifications? So on the Android app and maybe on iOS, I don't know, we actually send a silent notification to your phone 30 minutes before the stream starts. So if you pull out your phone and look at it, you'll see a notification for like the stream is about to start in, you know, 25 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever else like that. Basically a, you know, coming up next on Jeopardy or whatever type of notification, and the PM of notifications is like, yeah, but it only works if you schedule your streams. And I'm like, well, of course I schedule my streams. I've always scheduled my streams. I've scheduled my streams, you know, 90% of my streams for the past, you know, 2 years have been scheduled. The only ones that I don't schedule are the ones that I don't know I'm going to do until I'm doing them. But I was curious, like, but apparently very few people do. Like overall, the number of streams that are scheduled versus not scheduled is very much leaning in the not scheduled direction. And he was curious, like what they could do to get more people scheduling their streams, because people watch more. Like they watch more live video if you schedule it ahead of time. You know, when they added the feature to give you an up next, it was very effective. So he wants more people to use scheduling because that will make that feature more effective. Ah! I'm a caveman. I'm not a baby per se. I agree that I look like a baby, but I think I'm just supposed to be a caveman. Oh, right. I forgot. I can't do that. Yeah, I think the big head thing is the really confusing thing there. Babies have big heads. But they don't have monster teeth that can grasp onto things and climb walls, so... Alright, get out of here, bugs. There you go. There we go. Alright, there we go. Oh yeah, I mean, Orcas, I totally understand for people who don't stream on a schedule, but the reality is that I know that, like, Soybomb and myself and a lot of other people do, but I also know that I'm pretty sure, well, I really don't know. I don't know if those are mobile-only notifications or something, but I know that I have never seen this kind of 30 minutes early thing. That is a giant heart. That is definitely what I needed. Feeling better about that already. Okay, so hitting things multiple times is useful because it allows me to get more smiley faces, which refill my life more at the end of the level. I don't know. Feels like there's a lot, though, doesn't it? I'm glad it's not just me. Oh, nice! Alright. Let's get some more life in here. So the only thing I'm not sure of is, like, I'm starting on 2-4 when I continue. Was 2-4 actually, like, the first level in World 2, and they're just gonna continue? Like, the first 3, like, 1-3 went straight to 2-4? I don't know. This feels like it's gonna be a boss level, so... You think there was a 2-1? Okay. Alright, let's see if this boss is as easy as the last one. I'm gonna guess no. Well, that did not work well for me. Uh-oh, I went right through that one. There we go. Maybe. Nope. Ah! I honestly can't figure out how I'm supposed to hit this person. Like, can't fall that fast. Okay. Alright. Hello, Cherish. Hello, Jing. Hello, hello, hello. Alright. This weird camel donkey thing. You're my hero. You were just trying to kill me. I've won your heart and mind, Bonk. Well, that's nice, but it would have been nice if I'd done that before you were trying to kill me. Okay, so there's all my smiley faces filling up. Got it. I mean, I was trying to get him on the head, get her on the head. Him, her, I don't know. I was trying to get her on the head. The problem was that I couldn't get her on the head because I couldn't actually, like, fall fast enough to land on her head. I assume that that's what I'm doing. I assume that this is just like so many other things that what I'm doing is rescuing them from some kind of mind control, but you know that requires understanding story, and like many games of the era, the story was presented in the manual, and who bothers to read the manual really? For example, the manual for Super Mario Brothers informed you that if you held down A, you could restart from the last world that you had been working on. Something that, had I known, I might have actually beaten Super Mario Brothers 1 at some point in my life before I started streaming. Have I watched reviews before? Reviews of what? Have I watched reviews of... In the meantime, what I have is a lot of characters who are attempting to kill me with no real explanation. Excellent. But I mean, realistically, mind control clearly is going to play a role here. Mind control plays a role because you can actually see them change colors once you destroy them, which is very consistent with what happens when you're mind controlled, is that we all know that you change colors when mind controlled. So it's one of the aspects of mind control. Hey, if you get 10,000 points, you get an extra life. That's good. Not bad, Cherish Haven. I am doing just fine. Cherish Haven. Yeah, okay, I said that right. How are you? Welcome. Thanks for coming. Yeah, shampoo bottles do definitely get old for bathroom reading. I agree. Alright, Proto-Me, get out of here. Ow. Button mashing all the way. Oh god. Oh, okay. I was like, oh my god. But alright, 3-2 was not very difficult, just for the record. Yeah, I agree, Brad. We got all these friendly people in here. By the way, A.M. Schmidt is my brother, hanging out here for the first time tonight, so thanks to him. Shout out to him. Since I think somebody asked last time, is that the brother who is a teacher? It is. Also the brother whose front step Jess has a rematch scheduled with. So I think we're going to have to go back out and visit his house again at some point, just so that she can show the step who's boss. I believe that a jackhammer has been excluded from participating in this particular rematch, so I don't know exactly who's going to win, but I'm going to guess it's not going to be Jess. I mean, I'm pretty sure, given the context that was available at the time, that my brother did not booby-trap the step. I'm pretty sure the rain booby-trapped the step. I don't know if I mentioned this, but when we were, as we were leaving, it's like drizzling, Chicago, whatever, and we're walking out to the car, and Julie is like, oh man, it's raining, like, we've got to run, we need to avoid the rain, and Jess was like, you know, you don't have to worry about it, like, the rain isn't gonna hurt you, and as she said, you heard a scream as her foot slipped and she fell down the steps, the slippery steps, and badly broke her foot. So, I think that the rain did not want to be trifled with. It considered the insult to its prowess, and was upset about it. So, note to self, never insult the rain. That was a good get. Ugh! Yeah, see, so I'm like, I'm on 3.5 now, and 3.5, like, getting to the 5th world in 3, like, literally took less time than getting through, like, just one level in 2. So, I feel like the reality here is that there's a lot of variation in the length of the various stages, rather than, you know, it being that a 2-whatever... rather than there being 8 stages in and of itself being a problem, the problem is that 2.4 through 2.7 was just too hard for me. Part of which was, like, I did not realize that eating the vegetables actually gave you life, which maybe would have helped had I been paying attention. Like, I feel like part of the reason I'm able to be more successful now is because I'm actually paying attention to how the game works, which maybe is a good thing. Stingray, exactly that kind of thing. I feel like that's the type of thing that Alanis Morissette would describe as ironic, but in reality just sucks. Nobody designed this game. I mean, the reality is, like, if I compare this game to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1, I will choose this game in a heartbeat. So I think that maybe you're just not giving it enough credit for the time in which it was a thing. Alright, so I need to come back here and get an ice cube to be dropped that I can climb on top of and ride all the way up. God damn it. And it's not that any given world is different, but rather that but even that within a single world there's a lot of variation. Okay, there we go. I mean, the random element for enemies is certainly a thing, but my feeling on TMNT 1 is that I don't like the turtle variation. Like the fact that Raphael's effectively feels useless, and in fact, apparently the turtles in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, when they're below half health, actually do more damage. So this is a thing I found looking up the speedrunner's guide, is that they actually do more damage when they have low health. Something I would have never known, and that's true of every turtle except for Raphael. So Donatello does 15 damage when he's above half health and 16 when he's below half health, whereas Raphael does 9 damage when he's above half health and 9 damage when he's below, which just has the feeling of, like, you're just being cruel at that point. You know, you give him no reach. He's got crappy damage, although not quite as bad as Michelangelo. You know, he doesn't do more damage when he's low on life. Like, that's just bad. There we go. Alright. I didn't even have to continue in World 3 yet, so that's good. Alright. Hi. Oh, I missed. Oh. Note to self, don't hit his spiky shoulders. Alright, well that was not the right way to go. We'll wait here for you to get away. Nope. Okay. Where are you at? Oh gosh. Kind of wishing I hadn't said anything now. Oh! I failed. I failed. Oh no! Oh no! Take care, Judah. Oh, and I go back to only having 3 hearts. Or did I get my 4th partway through? Nope, that was a mistake. Alright, well, lesson learned. Save state. And don't be stupid. Yep. Maybe that was somewhere in World 3. We'll see. I mean, either way, it took it away, so if it wasn't... Ugh. Ugh! No, I guess it's fine. Yeah, that's right. I don't think there was a Game Genie for TurboGrafx. Maybe there was. CPG always cheats. Rule number 4 of CPG. Go ahead and take these little smiley faces. Oh, I missed it. Alright. Ah. Anyway, so overall, I would love to know, for people who don't schedule, for people who use a regular schedule to decide when to stream, but don't schedule their streams ahead of time, what could be changed in order to change that for them? Yeah, I just didn't remember if it was in 3.1 or like 3.4 or something. I mean, or if it was in like 2 or 3. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Ow. Jerky alligator. Who does he think he is? Chomping me with his big old jaws. Never had alligator jerky before. I have had alligator nuggets, and alligator nuggets taste like chicken nuggets, except a bit more chewy. The reality, of course, is that probably pretty much anything nuggets taste about the same, because most of the flavor is not in the meat, but instead in the breading and other nuggety goodness parts. So it shouldn't be a shock, but yeah, I had alligator nuggets when we went to Florida at one point, back when I was about 14. 12, 14-ish. I went to Florida, and we went to Disney World there. Huh. Was there a second water level? Yep, the Everglades. There you go. There you go. See, having a family member here means that I don't have to remember things. I just, you know, sit here and tell half of a story, and someone else takes care of the other half. It's great. Yes! That is my brother. Oh god. No, I want to go up, not down. So I think there's an extra life right up here. So I assume that the smiley faces only make a difference in my life if I make it through the boss, which it does not look like I'm going to do here, so... Come on, give me life. Oh! Damn it. Cocaine? I feel like there's cocaine? I don't know. Maybe it's not as popular. I know that the one time I went to Florida as an adult was, when I was going to a wedding of a couple of, friends of mine who did coke, I think. Fair enough. Cocaine is just popular everywhere. But yeah, that was when I went to a wedding. It was supposed to be a sunset wedding on the beach, and the two people involved in the wedding were an hour late to their own wedding, so the sun had already set by the time they arrived. The service was officiated by our friend who had recently ordained himself into the was it Universal Life Church, where you can go online and get yourself a certificate. Their vows were about 2 minutes each, or like the whole service was about 10 minutes in total, and involved referring to one of the involved referring to the groom by his LiveJournal username. So I mean, the reality is that, like, calling me an adult at that point would also be, like, a wild misnomer. But it was, I think, one of the first times I kind of traveled, that Jess and I traveled somewhere together. It was either the first or second. So I know that I went out, I did an interview with Yahoo out in Sunnyvale. And they did like a, you know, they paid for me and Jess to come out and did the interview and everything else like that. So this would have been in like 2005, 2006. And then there was the trip to Florida that we both did as well. How do I get out of that any faster? I feel like sometimes I'm in the, like, the whale's mouth for a long time, and sometimes I'm not, and I don't know the difference. Okay, so clearly I did not get my 4th heart somewhere in World 3, because the trees were not there. That must have come in World 2. And given that I did not make it through this last time with 3 lives and 4 hearts each, the chances I'm going to succeed this time are pretty low. Ah! I had sake here in Boston at our sushi restaurant, and it was gross. I've also had sake in Japan, and it was fine. I'm not a huge, like, wine drinker. It's entirely possible that when I had sake in Japan and it was fine, it was because I was really drunk to begin with. I'm not gonna rule that possibility out, because I spent a lot of my time in Japan really drunk to begin with, so. Okay, so this is not looking good as a start. So I thought sake was like a rice wine, isn't it? Am I crazy? I don't know. Certainly the memory I have in my head, which has very little to do with, you know, anything at this point because it was a decade ago, was that it reminded me a lot more of wine than it did of beer. Okay. I'm drinking nothing. Did I finish my Coke? He is, yes, Jess. Or was a minute ago. I don't know. It's hard for me to keep track. Tony, are you still there? There you go. I found him. Anyway, Jess, the answer to your question of, like, is the SNES Mini or the NES Mini hooked up or hook-upable is that yes. The answer to the Switch is that it is, like, 5 feet away from me, and I am happy to grab it. It has very few games at the moment, but I'm happy for you to. I'm happy to buy anything you need or whatever else like that. If you are looking to play video games, I'm happy to help you play video games. If you want to stream Super Mario Run, I will happily help you do that. I'll happily help you do anything, anything to make you happy, because I know that it can be crazy to try and be sane while lying in bed 18 hours a day and not sleeping, and then 6 more hours a day and sleeping. You're discussing how sake is similar to vodka, and her opinion is it's not. I don't know, I just didn't like sake, I think. What do I know? Ow! Alligator. I mean, really, I should just die and get it over with, because I'm going to. It doesn't make sense to keep trying, frankly. Ah! There we go. Done. Oh, nope. Alright, now done. Okay. Let's try this again with less sucking in the first level. Again, I need to try hard here and actually pay attention to the game. Hello, Judah. Chicago's scary. Chicago's not scary. I probably thought Chicago was scary when I was... No, actually, I did not probably think that. I thought Chicago was scary when I was growing up 40 miles from Chicago. So I can understand how Chicago would seem scary, because it was. But now that I live in a city, Chicago is no longer scary to me. When I first met Jess, I was still living at home out in St. Charles. I went into the city for a day and met her there. And the level to which I was scared of city living is definitely something that, in hindsight, is kind of terribly amusing. I think that the most idiotic, like the most like you really are from the suburbs thing that happened was when you know, some woman was like trying to beg me for bus money, and I was like trying to figure out like how much she needed or anything else like that, and Jess is like, no, she's just trying to scam money off of you. And I was like, oh, okay, I've got to go. And she was like, oh my god, like, you know, they're watching you, and like pointed to the sky. And I didn't get it, like, why was she pointing to the sky? And Jess is like, she's talking about God. She's saying God is watching you and is going to, you know, punish you eternally for not giving her money. And I was like, oh. So yeah, I was definitely completely, you know, I was not resilient at all to the machinations of beggars in Chicago at the time. Ah! Thought I was gonna get through that level with no health gone, but I did not. Judah, you're being really annoying. What's with the moderators is that they have observed the fact that you are asking the same questions over and over again, even though I am pointedly ignoring them. And they're saying, hey, that's not what we're gonna do here, and appropriately timing you out. I mean, there's a lot of, like, beer has a lot of varieties. Like, beer is you know, beer can be just fine, or it can be good. It can be lots of things. It can also give me, like, terrible, it can give me terrible, like, inability to breathe. One of the ones I had recently, the Trove, I think, was, like, very much, I'm like, this is the best beer I've ever had. And then for, like, the 2 hours, like, about 15 minutes after I drank it until about 2 hours later, I was, like, unable to breathe. So I'm probably, like, allergic to something in it, and I was like taking an inhaler and everything else like that because I could not breathe. It sucked. So I ain't got time for no jibber jabber. No, I'm not unfortunately allergic to sucky beer. Just to a beer that I really like that's actually very good, which sucks. It's probably like one of the better beers I've ever had, but it makes me sick. I mean, I don't need to forgive you, Judah. Like, if you were banned, then you'd have to beg forgiveness and you wouldn't get it anyway because I just don't care that much. But given that you're not banned, you don't need to be forgiven for anything yet. Do they have Blue Moon, Brad? Blue Moon is like the one beer that restaurants have that I find somewhat drinkable. I mean, I know it's just you know, I know it's not real, you know, because Blue Moon still tries to pretend that it's like a crafty, you know, local brewery or whatever, which it has not been for a long time. So I know that that's not the case, but I still find it drinkable, even though I don't really love it. Blue Moon's too fancy for China. I'm kind of bad at ad-lib, Mike. It's one of the things that I don't do well. As we were talking earlier, that I was, you know, Chris GC8 said I should play some more point-and-click adventures. So he was suggesting like the Muppet Island point-and-click adventures, but I was thinking more, you know, Heart of China or Return to Zork style or other things like that. And I said the problem is that like these point-and-click adventures were designed to basically have you spend 90% of your time being completely lost. Like that was the game design. And so for me to play them, I either have to just follow a walkthrough or I have to be lost 90% of the time. And being lost 90% of the time is not something that I really enjoy doing when on a stream. And so you know, I said, would you be interested in just following a walkthrough? And Chris and Chris and Jose both said like, yeah, you should do that, and then you should like make up funny voices or tell funny stories about it or pretend to be lost even though you're not, or other things like that. And I'm like, yeah, but the thing is, I'm not funny. Like, I'm not a good comedian. I'm not anything else like that. So yeah, Day of the Tentacle is the same basic idea. So I have avoided all of those types of games because of like the just, you know, is watching me follow a walkthrough funny or good? I mean, I think the reality, Jess, is that I could absolutely do that, like do an adventure, like a point-and-click adventure stream where it was just the two of us like making, you know, doing Mystery Science Theater 3000 as we played it, because I think that you and I have a great repertoire of, you know, being able to communicate back and forth and complement each other well. The problem is that it tends to be that those adventure games are really long, and so your general limitations on how long you're interested in doing something for plays into that as a problem. I'm gonna pick up all these little life things. Oh. No, it's fine, Jess. Tonight, I wasn't thinking tonight specifically. I mean, if you're really feeling itchy to come in here, you can. But it's not. I didn't actually set up space in here for that, so. I didn't forget. I figured I'd do it in the morning. Have better light. Okay. I'll raise the sun. Chris I have absolutely no problem with the idea of guest rants. I actually offered at one point. I didn't get any takers at that time. I haven't really done a public call for it, but I think it's a great idea. It's an interesting way to collab for someone who, you know, obviously I have... The thing is that I think that, you know, doing things like that always has a cost for someone else who's involved in it, so... Yeah, see, he changed color, which is the sign that he's no longer, I made a monkey out of him. Come to think of it, I am a monkey, so I guess I didn't make a monkey out of you, you just were one already? Have I seen Princess Za? Is she the Princess of Pizza? Suggest in 30 minutes when I finish up or when I switch from my CPG rant, I'll come in and help you make your way in here. While I'm talking away. I do not like games that take a lot of strategy. Strategy is hard. I like cheating my way through things. I mean, there's a lot of other people here who aren't my brother, so I don't know. No, I mean, honestly, I like mindless games. I like games that are, you know, that I'm able to just kind of play, not by, you know, like, oh, memorize every move. I don't like frame specific, you know, timings. I don't like Battletoads or other things like that. But in general, I like games that, like Mario, where, you know, yeah, you have to think sometimes, but mostly it's just run right. You know, you don't have to think about it. Or Mega Man, where, yeah, there's some strategy or whatever to it and so on, but you don't have to do a lot of thinking. And partially, that's what I like just for streaming, because when I'm streaming, obviously I'm talking a lot and other things like that. And that is hard to do while thinking. Okay. Hey! Unfortunately, I'm gonna lose that extra heart very soon. It's sad. Alright, here we go. Invincibility, right? Nope, I guess not. Alright, let's see if this is gonna go well for me. I'm kind of guessing no, but we'll see. Also, was that like one world in World 4? What the frick? You just did like 2 hearts of damage to me all at once. Let's try that again without that. Oh, okay, so the reason that they're mind-controlled is they have these, metal things on their heads. So they're like when the tripods came. They have the things on their heads. I really rang my bell on that one. Hooah! And then they have beautiful toupees, yeah. Now I can find my beloved princess. Wait, your beloved princess? I thought it was my beloved princess. I'm confused. Yes, it's absolutely fine if you bail, Jess. And if you bail and then want to come back, that's fine too. You owe me nothing, dear. I love you. So this music feels like I'm getting close to like the end or a boss or something. Zeokim probably knows. Zeokim knows all, because Zeokim's clearly the best player of this game. I'm excited. But I'm trying not to get my hopes up too much, because if you come out of this and you've got like another like 8 months of casting or something like that, I'll be very sad if I hype myself up to think that maybe you're going to get out of a cast. But I do think you have been almost certainly more restrictive in your activities while recovering than almost anyone else, which is something that you can do because you have not had to have, you know, a job or other things like that that take you away from home, so. So Jim, I know very little about it at this point. I trust very much in Soybomb's judgment on this, and Soybomb is excited about it. I think his point of, you know, it can't be, like, anything is better than nothing is a reasonable one, but I worry a little bit because there's been so many bad remakes that it won't be great. But, you know, Crash Bandicoot was great. The Sonic Mania game was awesome. And so I'm hopeful it'll be in that vein rather than something else. I don't actually know where I'm supposed to go here. Sonic Mania was a really, really good game. If you like the original Sonic, Sonic Mania was a really good game. They did a really great job giving a modern treatment to the style and everything else like that of the original Sonic. That was what I was curious about too, Stingray, but I don't seem to be able to. So the button I push to climb on the wall is the same as my spinny button, and I'm just doing that. So. Maybe there's something else I'm missing. Ten-minute break, Lalo! Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. No, they're just... I don't think so. I can't seem to do anything with them. I was thinking originally like I would be able to jump on them, but I think they're just background decoration. It is just Peachy Keen, my good friend Lalo. Happy to see you. So how many millions of dollars have you made in all your trading of altcoins, Lalo? Is it worth it? Is it worth it to sell your soul just for some extra money? Barbara, how's it going? Good to see you. Alright, where are we on this one? There we go. Butt coins and Doja coins and everything else. Barbara, 10-minute break, Brad Pritchard, Stingray Gaming, Soybomb, and who else is a streamer here? Anybody else I'm thinking of? Up 80% profits. Oh man, now you're rich. Kanye West. I am sad that Kanye West never became a thing. Someone's asking me earlier today, I think Jose was asking me earlier today what I think about Venezuela's new cryptocurrency offering that the president promised or whatever, which I am almost positive is just going to be another way of him attempting to maintain control over an economy that has suffered massive, like, failures as a result of the, like, you know, fact that oil is no longer $1 bajillion. So I don't expect that to go anywhere, but it was interesting that he's using that as his next political tool. So, you know, that's good, but I would absolutely not invest in that particular cryptocurrency, especially because, like, a whole chunk of the point behind cryptocurrency, especially in Venezuela, is that the government is not involved in your monetary transfer because, you know, that's a disaster at the moment. So to have them getting involved is definitely, you know, it feels very much like, oh shit, we've lost control, we're in real trouble now, more so than it does anything else. Take care, Celsa Louise. That's correct. You must hit with your head and not with your feet. So Bonk was a character from the TurboGrafx16. He was a, you know, the equivalent of the Sonic slash Mario-ish character at the time. And here he is with us tonight. I'm trying to figure out how to make this jump and not having a lot of luck. I mean, this carrot is not super helpful. I got this, but that's also not super helpful. Like, I have 4 different ways to get to the exact same height. Talking about this route here. Okay. Maybe I have to get that red guy to jump down and then jump off of him. Oh wait, I did it. I just have to jump? Like, I swear to God, I just stood on that ledge. Dipping carrots in hummus is actually one of the things I do at work. It's one of the snack foods in our micro kitchen that I take advantage of. Ugh. The ginseng root. Seems legit. Ah! I don't know what the trick was. I swear I just landed on it. But I did it like when I was attacking some guy? Maybe I can jump higher if I do something else? Oh! Oh, that didn't do quite what I was thinking. Ah! It'll give me wings? I think it'll give me sponsor deals is what it'll give me. If anything that I've learned from Red Bull is correct, it is that Red Bull gives me sponsor deals, because that's seems to be all they do is go around and sponsor things. It's actually one of the things I did when I went to the first VidCon was that I went out drinking with the Red Bull media team. So they were at VidCon and we just met up in at one of the industry events, and they were going out drinking and I just came with them and they paid for my drinks, and I was like, so how is it that you all like afford to do things? And they were like, because we're funded by like a European billionaire who doesn't care what's done with his money, and he just like is like, here, have a couple $1 million, go spend it on something cool. So their marketing budget is not tied directly to their sales. It's just kind of like, whatever. I feel like having a guy jump from space. How about that? Okay, so I think what I have to do is jump off of that guy. There we go. I don't think that was the right way to do it, but here we are. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. I didn't quite jump off an enemy, I more got hit by an enemy. I love VidCon. It's absolutely my favorite. I it's my favorite. It's the only event I go to, so it's not really my favorite event so much as it's the event I get to go to as a YouTube employee. But so I go to VidCon. When I was working on Geo stuff, I went to Phos4G, and Phos4G was the free open source software for geoinformatics conference every year, or eventually it just changed to free open source software for geospatial. But yeah, so I really have loved, you know, all of the conferences I get to go to, but at the first Phos4G, it was really great. I got to meet Anna in person. Stay awesome, Gotham. I got to meet other people. I feel like, you know, at the time at the VidCon in 2015 that I went to, there was not as much security as there was at later VidCons, and so after cons, after the sessions, they would have a lot of people who would just be able to come and take selfies and everything else like that, even the big names at the end, which was not the case at the later VidCons, because shortly before VidCon in 2016, Christina Grimmie was killed by a crazed fan, and they kind of really tightened up security as a result. And so the feel has not been quite the same since then. It feels a little bit more like, you know, you have an industry event with a, you know, for the bigger creators, it feels more like an industry event. So, oh, okay. I mean, the reality, Lalo, is that I was at the con and you were out drinking. So, you know, I feel like there was opportunity there that was perhaps not taken full advantage of by yourself. I mean, not that drinking is bad. Like, I totally understand drinking with friends that you only get to see so often. But when I go to VidCon, I do have an embarrassing crush with on Anna Akana. I took my first ever selfie with Anna Akana. I was a little bit surprised when Brad was so surprised at my crush on Anna Akana. It's kind of funny, actually, when I was at VidCon, so there were all these people who were doing this kind of like how to create YouTube video, and it's like breaking down statistics or other shit like that on how you can make successful videos. And they've done a bunch of analysis. Like, they've done analysis on, like, you know, oh, do this, and or rather not do this. If your videos are between 5 and 8 minutes in length, then that's going to work. Or if you have tags that match the description that are in the title that are whatever, then you succeed. The problem is that they like completely reverse causation and correlation. Like, they're like, oh, you know, we've looked at all the most popular and successful videos, and they all do this. And it's like, yeah, but those videos are successful because they're successful videos. Like, they're successful because they were made by PewDiePie, not because they put the same word as the second line in the description. The fact that everyone happens to do that is just because that's a norm that has been, you know, created across the site. And so after watching a bunch of those, I was like, oh my god, seriously, like, none of this is helpful for people, because you cannot, like, create a video that targets a 87% retention rate or a 47% retention rate. Like, that's a stupid metric to target, and I got so cranky about it. And then YouTube did their presentation, which is later turned into, or at the time turned into, a Creator Academy course, which I still love quoting from. It's a really useful course. It doesn't cover anything super magical, but it talks about the different ways that videos can be discovered. It talks a little bit about the various ways that they, you know, what types of video discovery mean, and how you can target them, whether you're talking about, you know, trending or search or anything else like that. And really just kind of talked through it, and basically said, like, what you want to do is target your audience. What you want to do is figure out how to create content that is interesting to your audience. Wow, that was dumb of me. And really, like, don't worry about the algorithm. Worry about the audience that you're cultivating and curating. Which I thought, I mean, I've always thought is the right message. You know, don't worry about the micro optimization of tags. Your goal is to figure out a way for people to find your content and then like get it to them. And so so I posted, and so one of the people that I follow on G+, I know, she posted and was like, here's, you know, they posted their, like, vidIQ posted their annual, you know, survey of how YouTube video recommendations work or whatever, and it was the typical, like, oh, this year, you know, retention is hot or whatever, and I was like, oh god, that's so stupid, because it was stupid, and I posted, I said I was much happier at VidCon with the presentation from YouTube on, you know, how YouTube's system works, and kind of how they think about recommendations or suggestions, rather than like the specifics of how some algorithm is working most of the time for some people right now. That just seemed like it was not a really useful, you know, chunk of feedback. And just like 2 weeks ago, the guy whose presentation I was kind of ragging on got back to, like, commented on that G+ post and was like, oh, okay, Mr. Google man, like, you know, I see how it is. You just didn't like my presentation. Well, the YouTube one really sucked this year. And I was like, dude, like, I'm just saying, like, your presentation was not useful if you're a content creator trying to figure out what to do. And I stand by that, so. I honestly, like, I realized that there was, like, a bug that I hit and missed. Oh, wait, I did it! So what the hell? What am I doing differently there that it works sometimes and not other times? That's weird. Because they're ugly as shit, Mercenary X. I mean, I don't know what Google's actual reason was, but that's the right reason to get rid of those crappy, like, design your own. The reality is that 99% of people should not be designing anything on the internet. I realize that that makes everything look the same, but I also realize that having everything look the same is excellent for accessibility, for information availability, and everything else like that. If you look at most of the designs from folks who were designing their own channels a bajillion years ago, and keep in mind, this is before I was at YouTube. This is just me speaking as a long-term web designer, not as, like, a YouTube employee. Like, having people design their own web pages gives you a ton of unreadable crap. You also have to keep in mind that, like, those designs don't work on mobile, because realistically no one has yet invented a tool where you can somehow, well, I'm sure there are tools, but designing in HTML is a thing that some people have some skill in, but doing that in a limited enough language that, you know, it would work on mobile as well as desktop is a totally different game. And while you can certainly do CSS rendering or whatever on mobile layouts, it's not what you really want to be doing. So, GeoCities was ugly, Tripod was ugly, YouTube channel pages like that were ugly. It's a bad idea. It's not in the best interest of your users, or anything else like that. And that's really the number one reason. Like, if you're asking the question, why did YouTube do X? The reality is one of two things. Either, you know, we got rid of something because it was expensive to maintain and not enough people were using it, or we got rid of something because it was causing users to watch less YouTube. Like, and that's not like some magical secret. That's just like how web development works. You get rid of the features that users don't use enough of, that cost a lot to maintain, and that hurt the user experience. There's no magic to it. You trade off your maintenance costs and everything else like that against what you can afford to do. So I think that if you want to get enough audience, like, the reality is that a lot of people who say they want to get audience, that's not their only goal. So for example, I would love to have audience, but I would love to have audience playing the games that I want to play. And those are two different things, right? So I can have audience playing Super Mario Maker, I can have audience playing Splatoon, or I could at one point. I mean, I don't think those would work the same way anymore. But I want to play retro games. I want to be able to talk about web development. I want to do these other things that are not at all related to what the average person wants in content creation. And while I can certainly get a niche set of creators and viewers and everything else like that that are happy to be here, and I frankly would rather have them, it's a niche. And so, you know, if all you want to do is grow, you know, grow your channel with some number, like by metrics wise, make a top 10 list, make, you know, top 10 stupid things that YouTube creators do to grow their channels. You know, it's gonna get 5 times as many views as this video is, even if it's completely useless and wrong. But I don't want to get popular with that. I want to get popular off the things that I want to do. Now, do I still make a lot of choices that are around continuing to grow my channel and community and everything else like that? Absolutely. I mean, even something as simple as I stream on a schedule is something that I only do, well, I don't only do. I do in part because it's a good approach for maximizing my audience or my, you know, reach, my discoverability and access. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I'm willing to give up on everything that I do in order to kind of make, you know, some theoretical audience happy, because I wouldn't enjoy it. I wouldn't enjoy making top 10 lists. I wouldn't enjoy, you know, streaming the latest YouTube drama. I wouldn't enjoy these other things. So while they may be effective, they're not necessarily for me. And everyone can make their own decision on that, but I think that a lot of times people are like, well, I want to grow an audience doing exactly what I like, which is like, well, no, that's not how it works. You grow an audience by doing something that an audience wants. Aha! Okay, I can't kill these things. Ah! No! Oh no, the heart was right there! I would say streaming music videos is a terrible idea. I mean, if you're gonna go through and get licenses from people, like, more power to you. A lot of people try to not do that, and that's a terrible idea from the perspective of managing a YouTube channel. You should never ever stream content that you don't believe that you have all the rights to. It's not a long-term successful strategy, and I would discourage people from making, you know. Now, if you are creating your own music videos, that's one thing. If you're gonna, you know, go out and create content, then great, do that. But YouTube has explicit policies against, you know, reposting other people's content, you know, even ignoring the copyright aspects and other things like it. That's not a good way to grow a community. And I realize that there are many channels that have done this and been successful, but frankly, they're all better at it than you ever will be. Hey, Cow Dizzle. Oh, man. Yeah, saw that coming. Billy! Man, it's like a party up in here tonight. I got all these cool people. But it is time for that CPG rant of the evening. So the CPG rant of the evening, for those of you who are new, is that portion of the evening where I give you a piece of my mind. So we're all going to sit back. We're going to mute this game. We're going to sit back. We're going to listen to the wisdom of CPG. So for all you sponsors, toss one of those CPG rant emojis in there, and so on and so forth. So sit back, relax, and smoke some weed, or listen to some CPG. I don't know, one of these two. So here we hold on, push the right buttons, and that's not the right
things
button.
must come to an end, and this.
God damn it! One of these days, I've actually done really well. I don't think I've made that mistake for a while. All right, here we go. All good things must come to an end, and this applies no less to YouTube than it does to everything else. I'm the Chris who plays games. This is your CPG rant of the evening. When I interact with many content creators on the internet, they will point to channels that have stopped uploading as evidence that YouTube is destroying channels. They will point to channels that have just disappeared and say, well, look, they did it because of X, Y, or Z, whether it's demonetization or policy changes, whether it's content ID or copyright, whether it is whatever there is out there, the claim is always that it's YouTube's fault. But the reality is that that's not actually the case. In many cases, there are creators who are out there and making successful content and perfectly financially viable, or at least as financially viable as they have ever been, but do not continue to make content, and the reasons are varied. This last weekend, Every Frame a Painting, a popular series analyzing various trends in film, decided to call it quits. And their post on this topic is extremely good. It goes through all of the reasons why they were limited by their scope and their channel, why they were able to do what they were able to do, but also why it had come to an end. And one of the things that they pointed out was just the fact that it was very hard to live a normal life when every aspect of your life was considering, how am I going to make the next video? That when you gain internet fame, whether it be, tens of subscribers or millions of subscribers, you feel an obligation to that audience and to those fans to continue to deliver on the things that they expect from you, and it is not always going to be possible to do that forever. Every Frame a Painting had, even now, a year after their most recent upload, more than $7,000 per video in Patreon support, but they decided not to continue down that path. And while it is certainly the case that producing videos that they did was extremely time-consuming and difficult, I believe that they could have made this a thing that they did full-time. Maybe not living in San Francisco, but at least living in Vancouver. But they chose not to do that because it's not just about the money, it's not just about anything in particular, it's about an entire experience around these things. And so you have to look at, every good thing has to come to an end. Things can't continue to be good and possible forever. Now, it's certainly possible that when you work together with a team, a broader team, you're able to continue the trend of creating content even when an individual host or personality is not able to do this. We see this all the time with late night shows, everything from, all of the current late night batch, but, The Daily Show is a common example. Jon Stewart left, Trevor Noah took over for him. Before Jon Stewart, there was somebody else, although I have no idea who it was, to be honest, because Jon Stewart did it for a very long time. The show continued. But frankly, it's not the same. I honestly think they even use a different YouTube channel now. The Daily Show channel is now The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, and Jon Stewart's own clips are only available on the Comedy Central channel. This is something that happens because all good things must come to an end. Now, when things do come to an end, the question is, how do you end it? Do you tell people? Do you not tell people? And one of the most common things that people will say is when leaving a party, you may want to consider the Irish goodbye. And there's probably some garbage connotation with that, but it is a title that apparently people use for this, and it basically just means saying goodbye, but by not saying goodbye. It means leaving the party without saying a goodbye. And the reason you do that is to allow the conversation to continue, to allow the people who are having fun to continue to have fun, to not take away from their enjoyment of the party just because you are leaving. Because by saying a long, protracted goodbye, whether it is the saying goodbye 17 times to every people and then going out and then coming back in because you forgot something or whatever else like that, you make it very awkward. Another thing, of course, can be the goodbye where two of you happen to be leaving at the same time, and so you have to, keep awkwardly talking to each other as you make your way out, or a number of other things. But the Irish goodbye, or ghosting, or just leaving the party without saying goodbye is absolutely an approach that you can take, and it allows the conversation from all the rest of the people who are there to continue. And that's basically what Every Frame a Painting did. For the past year, they haven't uploaded anything other than a paid gig for the Criterion Collection and one other thing they mentioned. They had stepped back from making videos entirely. They hadn't posted a video saying, hey, we're going to stop. They hadn't posted and said, hey, we're considering whether we're going to keep doing this. They had just stopped. Now, part of that is that it's very difficult to produce a video that is in the style of their channel that communicates what they wanted to communicate, because their channel is about these in-depth aspects of film, whether it's why Vancouver never plays itself, or how text messaging or the internet are portrayed on film, or how to do various shots. I think it is absolutely the case that they were not able to produce a a goodbye message, which was in the tone and tenor of their channel, which has been very specific and strict throughout the entire duration of the channel. It's one of the things that they mentioned made continuing to make content more difficult, is that they had to think about how to frame it in the same way as the content they had already created. So instead of having a protracted goodbye, or instead of changing their content style or anything else like that, they published a Medium post a year after and said, hey, we haven't been posting for a while, but just so you know, we're done. You know, we've looked at YouTube and how we can do things. We've had to create a system that works in this particular way. We've had to avoid content ID via these specific things. We've had to do all of these things, but the reality is that we're just no longer having fun. And I always promised myself if I stopped having fun, I would stop doing it. And that's a good time to stop. If you're not having fun at what you're doing, continuing to do it is going to lead to a decrease in quality. It's going to lead to a decrease in the success of your product. It's okay to say, I'm done. Look at TV shows. Most TV shows, other than The Simpsons, don't last for 30 seasons. Yeah, sure, soap operas do it, but those don't really count the same way because they're not really a single narrative. They have no particular cohesion in their story. They're happy to change it and then change it back and then change it again and change the actors and change the parts and change everything else about it because it's just an ongoing narrative that changes over time and it's not really the same thing. But most dramatic or comedic TV shows, the type that are shot in seasons, have to end. And even when they don't end, they change. Again, come back to Daily Show with Trevor Noah versus Jon Stewart. So don't feel guilty because you're changing your channel. Don't feel guilty because you're saying goodbye. Don't feel guilty because... Don't feel guilty because you're coming to an end in the style that you have become accustomed to. Instead, accept that this is a fact of life, that people move on, that it is not necessarily the case that every channel has stopped uploading videos did it because YouTube was reaching out and trying to crush them, but instead some just did it because life has changed. You get a new job or you lose interest, you find that you've made all the topics that you want and you have to move on because frankly, if I didn't have the strict schedule that I did, it's possible that I would have stopped streaming a long time ago, and I'm glad that I have continued to do so because I've been able to experiment and find new ways to enjoy what I'm doing, but it is really the case that I have changed the format of my live streams and I've been happier because of it. And you shouldn't feel prevented from doing the same thing. And you shouldn't feel like you need to apologize to people because you do it. Although if you are taking monthly payments via Patreon or sponsorships, that's a different thing. But in general, you shouldn't feel bad just because you're ready to stop. And you shouldn't feel like you're forced to do anything other than say the Irish goodbye. I'm the Chris who plays games. This has been your CPG rant of the evening. Every Frame of Painting is an absolutely incredible channel that has made videos on all types of different aspects of filmmaking. If you are interested in the techniques of filmmaking, if you want to know how people look at shots and counter shots, if you want to look at the use of a telephoto lens, if you want to look at the use of texting and the internet in videos, or understand why Vancouver never plays itself, then Every Frame of Painting is the channel for you. Now, unfortunately, as I've said, they have decided to stop broadcasting or creating new content, so the 28 videos in Every Frame of Painting are all there's going to be. But that means one thing: it's time to binge watch it. So this Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. in my lounge, link is in the description below, we will be watching Every Frame of Painting together, all 28 videos, 3.5 hours worth. So please stop by if you're interested in anything about filmmaking. If you just want to know how people decide how to do things, it tears apart single scenes or looks or anything else like that and shows how you can use camera techniques and shots and approaches in order to create an experience that's different than what you otherwise might expect. Every Frame of Painting was able to garner 1.5 million subscribers and 53 million views over their 28 videos, and it's not because they suck at what they're doing, I'll tell you that much. So stop by and watch with us and learn a little bit more about film techniques as we watch the back catalog of Every Frame of Painting in the CPG Lounge. I hope to see you there 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. So as far as finding the lounge without a link, it's actually visible in the top of my channel page. So if Nope, that's not the video I wanted to pull up. So if you look at my channel in YouTube Gaming on the app or the desktop version, when I am not streaming, it will be there. So if you, I'll pull that wrong browser, just a second. So right now, if I go to my channel page, you'll have my live stream, Chrome. So this link up here is my live stream, but if you are watching it when I'm not live, then it looks instead like this. So this thing here will say watch now. You click on that and you're in my lounge. So just navigate to my channel page anytime that I am not live and you will get that. And you can just click on there and watch. All right. You guys all really love the fact that I just like completely choked. Yeah, I did actually edit that out of the official version. I kind of forgot to edit it out of this version. I didn't really think about it. So I did a bunch of editing last night of a bunch of different videos. So one of them was my lounges call to action. So the most recent video I published is about lounges, has information on how to get to them and everything else like that. But this Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to watch everything from Every Frame of Painting. I know that not everyone is going to be interested in Every Frame of Painting, but sometimes it's fun just watching together. So stop by and hang out. Rule number 1, Zio Kim, just always keep going. Always keep going. Alright. I have to actually click on my game in order to play. There we go. Well, so Brad, it is not the case that I'm going to make this an easy message to miss. So the Every Frame of Painting call to action will be included in the CPG Rant of the evening, which I will publish later. I will also be sharing it on Twitter and publishing a separate call to action video when I start the lounge viewing of Every Frame of Painting. So I'm gonna try and get people in there. So one of the reasons I'm doing this, of course, is just that I want to see the ways that lounges can be used. I'm interested in understanding like what is the, you know, upsides and the downsides. What do people want to see? What people don't want to see? So this is actually an intentional test because I know that not everyone who watches my content is interested in something like Every Frame of Painting, and I want to know if, you know, it's still possible to kind of put something like that together or not. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, so Every Frame of Painting's total runtime is will be about 3.5 hours. So it'll be running from about 8:30 until midnight Eastern time. So that was kind of what I figured. We've been kind of doing this kind of informally, is having various nights where we did, like, Chris kind of led the way, and we did a Japanese food night the other night. Earlier today, we watched a whole bunch of Alex Steele and a bunch of other kind of creator-focused content. You know, maker-focused content type stuff, and so on and so forth. So I think that this is the thing I'm gonna try and do. Ideally, I would love to put together kind of like a more, you know, edited playlist. But honestly, strongly editing a playlist is just as hard as making a video, and I don't have time to do that either. So have a great night, Judovic. Hello, Prop420. I mean, 10-minute break you're a shill, which is fine. I mean, Jose has the same problem. I think that actually, amusingly enough, I think I get that less, other than from a few idiots at Reddit, because I think I'm actually more down on YouTube than I think sometimes you and Jose are, because you're both kind of positive about things, whereas I'm like, oh my god, it's so bad, it should be better. Hello, Chris GC8. Or, I'm sorry, good night, Chris GC8, is what I was trying to say. I mean, the reality is that you've seen the good things that YouTube can do, right? You've seen how Rebel was able to kind of build up a community and everything else like that for her YouTube channel. You've seen the positives of being able to, you know, go out there and take advantage of the search and discovery on an otherwise uncovered topic. You've seen the joy of being able to build a community around Overwatch things or other things like that. And I think that for a lot of smaller creators who have seen no meaningful success, it can be a lot harder to kind of give YouTube the benefit of the doubt For creators who have succeeded a lot, they've seen all the shit that YouTube screws up, frankly. And so, you know, that sometimes they feel like, you know, it's screwed up and YouTube doesn't hear them. And so, you know, I'm sure some people in this community saw like Game Dojo and Stat posting earlier today. And I have, you know, was looking into that today and other things like that. And some of these things are things that I understand, and some are things that I don't, and some are bugs, and some are intentional behaviors that, you know, I don't like any more than a streamer does. Yeah. But I think that, I mean, it is very difficult. There's a lot of people who have been able to, you know, show either, you know, moderate or even significant success. You know, there are people who are able to make a full-time living out of doing things on YouTube, and that's great. And I hope that they continue to be able to do so. But I also realize that, you know, YouTube is a harsh mistress. It's you know, in the same sense that the moon is a harsh mistress, not some kind of weird sexual thing. You know, it can be very difficult to work within a framework that is, you know, opaque. It can be very difficult to you know, work a system or find success when you feel like the rules are changing all the time. And I think that, you know, YouTube is in a state of transition from a kind of open, anything goes platform to something a little bit more maybe grown up is the right word. And in the process, there's been a lot of things that have gone, I mean, frankly, have gone wrong. There's a lot of things I think YouTube wishes that it had done differently this year, and has been, you know, working to improve communication, working to improve a lot of different things. But it's really hard when you're starting kind of deep in the hole, you know, on working on growing up long after you should have. YouTube was basically like the 26-year-old still living in its parents' basement until like 2016. You know, so it was, you know, 10 years past when it started doing anything, and still not really thinking of itself as a serious, you know, I don't know if serious business is the right thing to say, but wasn't taking itself seriously enough, I think, and wasn't taking itself seriously as a platform that supports, you know, tens of thousands of small businesses. I think that that's a really important thing to remember, is that there are very few, like Etsy might be one, but there are very few other platforms that enable the raw number of small businesses that YouTube does to, you know, thrive and succeed, and that's a hard place to do it. So Prop 420, I feel like Twitch is, so there was actually a big kind of semi-expose written by some random dude on Reddit, but it basically was just quoting from the Twitch Glassdoor reviews, and it does not sound like a place that you want to work these days. It sounds very much like Amazon, like what I would expect would happen with any big acquisition. Like Amazon kind of took it and you know, treated it like it was another Amazon thing, and that has had a lot of negative effects on culture and other things like that. And so while I know that Twitch has done a bunch of, you know, there's been a lot of back and forth on like, oh, you know, YouTube did this and Twitch did that and blah, blah, blah. I think overall, I look at it as, you know, that's a scary thing to have, is to have kind of employees who are very upset about culture and fit and how they feel in their work. That can be kind of stressful for your, you know, your long-term success. Now it's entirely possible that that's, you know, a very limited subset. I would be interested, you know, if you were to be able to take just YouTube or anything else like that, what would reviews look like? I mean, yeah, sure. Google as a whole has a you know, 4.8 star Glassdoor set of reviews, but would, you know, YouTube alone have the same thing, or would it be not that? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the features that they're building are just not that, I mean, not to talk smack about Twitch in particular, but they do their announcements in a very different way than YouTube does. YouTube wants to announce big things and only big things. A lot of that comes from the super high press interest in everything that Google does. So every announcement you have just leads to this massive, like, extremely costly press interaction that distracts from all the things that we're trying to do in general, and that can be really difficult, especially when we're fighting, you know, other battles. You know, you can't announce every time you do a minor change to how playlists work or something like that, because if you do, then you won't have the press bandwidth for when you want to announce, like, hey, you know, yes, we really are attacking, you know, whatever thing you're upset about now. I mean, I think that, oh, hey, Border Pressed. So I think, or Chaos, the thing about, like, the advertising bit is actually that, you know, Twitch is actually in an interesting spot where the advertisements that I see on Twitch are exactly the kind of advertisements I would expect you to get on YouTube when you're in limited ads mode. And that's kind of consistent with the overall, like, numbers I've seen, which indicate that Twitch's, like, for people who publish their, like, how much they're making from ads, like, the CPMs on Twitch are junk. Like, you know, 25 cents per thousand views or other things like that, compared to what I would expect from YouTube, or revenue per, not CPMs. CPM, it's confusing because a lot of people talk CPM because that's the advertising industry piece, but most people actually care about, like, revenue rather than CPM, because revenue, like, if ad blockers are involved, you don't get paid for ads on those, and that can, like, that doesn't show up in CPM or whatever. But in any case, like, their ad system is just not very, in the same way that you know, VidMe talked about their kind of system being impacted by an inability to attract advertisers because of brand safety concerns. I think that's always been true on Twitch, which is why you get a lot of, you know, beer commercials and car commercials, and you don't, like, you get the same commercial over and over again, and other things like that. Now, I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not a Twitch user. I'm not a Twitch partner. I don't have advertising revenue. But, like, there's that, and then there's also the fact that Twitch in April, around the time that YouTube's brand safety issues were heating up, had promised that they were going to give ads to affiliates soon, and we're still waiting on that. So I'm wondering if they actually have a lot of the same brand safety issues. It's just that it's hidden for them. So rather than being transparent and kind of saying, like, hey, look, you could be making more money, but we've evaluated your content and decided that you can't, rightly or wrongly. I mean, most of my videos are affected, and I don't think that, like, a human reviewing them would necessarily agree with that determination, but whatever. Like, we've looked at your videos and we've decided these are not advertiser friendly. Twitch just has that state by default. I know that for me, stop getting hit by stuff. Zeokim, that sounds hard. How about I just get hit by stuff more? Does that seem like it's gonna work? So far it hasn't been working really well for me, I guess, so maybe it's not an approach. Beyond the bomb diggity? I don't know, what is beyond the bomb diggity? Is that the no diggity? I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. Anyway, when gaming lore comes around, there's only one thing to do.
Brian Wilson, Texas Lawhawk! Brian Wilson, the Texas Lawhawk! Talons of justice! Do process! Do wheelies! It's hot out here! Brian Wilson! El Halcon de la Ley! Brian Wilson! The Texas Lawhawk! Let it go.
Alright. Oh, God. Ugh. Alright, so I made it through that level. Now, the question is this next thing a boss fight? Or is it, like, something else? Well, that did not go how I expected. On either side. God damn, cat. Like, I've got my headphones on, which are pretty good. Like, I can rarely hear Jess when she's like screaming my name with these headphones on. But my cat is yelling loud enough that I can hear him like outside my office door. God damn it. Every single one of those is one of those stupid yellow things that I don't understand the reason for. Like every one of these is gonna be too. Yep. Not even gonna try the last one. Oh. All right. There's generally a perception that certain games on YouTube are always demonetized. It doesn't have any direct causal thing on YouTube's side, and YouTube's explicitly said that they don't demonetize games, and fantasy violence is not a reason why content would be demonetized in general. One of the things is that the demonetization bot sucks, and you know, it needs to be better, but it's really hard to make it better because the signals that you need in order to make it better just aren't there. Computers are really bad at determining context, and so figuring out whether something is advertiser friendly or not based on what information a computer can extract is just really hard. You know, YouTube has said that it uses viewers' interactions in order to figure out whether things are, you know, advertiser unsafe. You can imagine some ways in which that might work, but you know, there are certainly some creators in pretty much every genre who say every one of their, you know, videos gets demonetized based on X, Y, or Z. You know, whether that's because it includes the term lesbian, or whether it's because it is, you know, The Sims or Destiny or Battlefield or anything else like that. And in almost all cases, it's really hard to figure out what the actual cause was externally. I think that that's one of the issues, is that the system is just too bad to actually have it work well. And so everyone's always like, oh, it's because I swore, or because I did this, or because I played Destiny, or because I did this, or whatever else like that. And it's like, no, it was actually because you had an orange pixel in the 37th place of your thumbnail. Or it's actually because you used the word "the" in your description 7% more than the average. Or it's actually because you included a link that was, you know, 43 characters long. Like, that's the way these neural networks and models actually work. but it's really hard to, you know, debug or explain those. Like, debugging neural networks is effectively impossible. And so as a result, humans, because we're attempting to figure out how to make content that, you know, doesn't make the bot unhappy, will attempt to come up with an explanation. But to some extent, there's just no way to explain. It has decided whatever it has decided, and it's pretty much impossible to do better than that as a content creator without access to, you know, some type of magical information that frankly doesn't exist. Even if you worked at YouTube, you wouldn't be able to figure this stuff out. So, all right, seems like a good thing. Oh god. Damn it. Or Chaos, the answer is I don't know. I don't know what goes into this any more than anyone else does. My hope is that smart people, like Google in general hires some of the smartest people that I know. Other than like Mark and Metacarta, Google hires some of the smartest people that I know. And my hope is that whatever they're doing is the best that you can imagine to do. And there's no one who works on YouTube who is not aware that trolling is a thing. So. Yeah, exactly. No one can type Zeokim's name in chat with AutoMod on because, you know, it looks like gibberish. Although, to be fair, Zeokim does look like gibberish. But that's not the only person whose name is in that category. You know, one of the channels that was testing out the AutoMod feature had exactly the same thing happen. So, models are hard. But yeah, Mathros, copyright is a totally different issue. And one that is the nice thing about copyright is that it's understandable. Like I think that the understandable part of copyright is that you know, if you look at the copyright regime that exists in the world, not because of YouTube or anything else like that, but just because like copyright holders are dicks. Everything is copyrighted, and they can do whatever they want because they have all the power. And so, with that being the case, like you can look at Nintendo and say like fair use isn't really a thing, with a pretty narrow set of exceptions. If you were to look at Every Frame of Painting or Nostalgia Critic or other things like that, I think that they've done a good job at, you know, finding things that are not actually, you know, copyright violating. But in general, like, it is very hard to use anyone else's content, period, without it being a potential issue that you would have to go in front of a judge in order to defend in a copyright situation. So that leaves copyright, you know, if you use anyone else's content, then you're going to have to cope with copyright. Beginning and end of story. Okay. I don't know what those eggs were. Or what I'm supposed to do now. And of course that license is insufficient, right? And so like Campo Santo gave written permission to use their content, but because it didn't have a non-revocability clause, when they got pissed off at PewDiePie for whatever they got pissed off at PewDiePie for, there's absolutely nothing that prevented them from going ahead and doing that. So it's kind of a... Wait, I thought I just... Oh. I have to defeat this guy again? Please tell me... No, of course not. Yeah, I was hoping it would be a boss rush with at least some life at the end of it, because I have a feeling this is not going to work well for me, but... Okay, so there's 2 of them to start, but only one of them is real. So you see here, Zeokim, this is the part I was talking about where, like, I cannot land on her before she disappears. I basically have to predict where she's going to be. Ah! Is the Silver Dome the thing we watched, the video about, Brad? That I was like, the Pontiac Silverdome or whatever, that I was like, I've never heard of that stadium. And it, like, used to be kind of decent, but then the roof kind of caved in, and then it just completely destroyed itself. Okay. Ugh, this is not gonna go well. So yeah, the CPG Lounge, home for all your video watching needs. One of the things we've been watching is kind of these abandoned or urban exploration type videos into abandoned locations. And one of the ones we watched about was the Superdome, the Silverdome, not the Superdome. Superdome's in Houston and is not falling apart. And it's just like the fact that it was originally built for like $280 million, and then some developer bought it for like 500,000 or something like that. I mean, how, I don't know. We can't only watch things when you're around. I run out of good YouTube. Hey, I try to limit the Star Wars videos. Give me some credit. I have explicitly not included many Star Wars videos. Alright, well, that did not go well. I've got him. I'm just trying to figure out... No, my save state wasn't good. I'm trying to figure out where this is going to send me. Yeah. So the reason I didn't want to do a save state is because I did not have 2 lives coming into this. So I decided that I would just go with the continue if it was going to take me back here, which it did. And that way I would have a better save starting point to develop save states from. See? Do that, and now we never have to beat that dinosaur again. CPG cheat. Up in his house. I shouldn't have said that. That was dumb. That wouldn't have even been cool at any point in my life. I'm sorry we had given you that impression, Cowdizzle. It was a false impression. I can't even stop it. Like, I don't even have to be there. Like, videos just play when I'm not there. Videos, I think, will sometimes play when nobody's there because someone left their laptop or their desktop open to play videos. if there's actually nobody who has it open, it will not actually advance, but it happens so rarely that this is why I have to keep like asking people like, what did you even see? That's why I added the rate command so you can rate videos while I'm not around. Yeah, I think that's true. You guys stayed up late. I think you stayed up late on either Thursday or Friday. Because I read the chat logs when I wake up in the morning. So usually I have like a decent idea of people who stuck around. I mean, I try and make it very clear, Zeokim, that I like when I'm there and when I'm not there. But I also, like, I can't be there 24/7. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, with a couple exceptions, I think at one point I passed out when I didn't expect to, but generally if I'm around, I will tell people like, okay, I am actually going to go to sleep now. Usually what will happen is I say I'm going to sleep now and then I watch for like another 2 hours, so. I try to make there be interesting videos all the time, baby. I don't succeed though. It's hard. I mean, it's hard because, like, if I was trying to have something 24/7, I would have to have watched a lot of time beforehand because, obviously, I'm not awake and able to watch 24 videos. Yeah. I say I'm going to bed and then I show up 30 minutes later, or 10, or 3. Sometimes I do actually go to bed and then post from bed. Damn it. This guy is too hard. But I've also got to figure out a way to get past the second boss without losing lives, so... Yeah, see, I'm not going to toss a save state now, because I've got no lives left, and the chances that I'd be able to beat the rest of the bosses that way is pretty low. Ow! Ah! Can't get out! Yeah, so the problem is when I get stuck under their heads, because he does the bonk up, like, when he's... Whenever his head hits something, it causes a bonk, and so if I'm stuck underneath their head, then I will, like, not be able to get out. Yeah, or, I mean, yeah, Zeokim, this is why I'm not save stating there, so... Yeah, okay. Well, the thing about hosting live streams, which is a thing that I'm pretty sure is already on the roadmap, is that before hosting live streams becomes a thing, you really want the skip function to become a thing, because you don't want to. Okay, we're gonna try this again. They're just some guy, Nathros. Texas Lawhawk was just a lawyer in Texas that Gaming Lawyer found and included in his things. Gaming Lawyer's name is not Brian Wilson, the Texas Lawhawk. Fuck! Get out of here. Talons of Justice. Alright. But yeah, so so I've thought about actually just contributing, like, because I think that actually having live streams work at all is not hard. I know where the code lives. I know which parts need to work in order to make it happen. Like, if you add a live stream now, it will actually play, but it'll play for like 30 seconds and then it will skip to the next video because it'll figure out like, oh, I'm at the end of the live stream, because it's always at the end of the live stream, and then move on to the next video. And so I considered adding it, but then I was like, no, because I can't just add it, because what if you get stuck in like a 12-hour live stream and you can't leave? Or, like, even worse, like someone decides that their live stream becomes like a 24-hour live stream and now your lounge is forever that live stream. You know, that would not be the kind of thing you want. So before implementing the ability to like host a live stream in there, I think that it makes sense to implement the skip function that we also need to implement, so that you can actually skip, you know, content that would play in the lounge. I mean, some people turn down free advertising because they don't think it fits their you know, brand, right? Brand safety is a thing not just for advertising you pay for, but also things you don't pay for, so. I mean, that's fair, Brad. Unfortunately, as a sponsor of the channel, you directly contribute to its financial success. And when I say financial success, what I mean is the financial money that I give away to other people. Oh, god damn it. I mean, really, all of these things own me, but let's see if we can do better on this guy. Okay, so standing underneath him, not a good plan. Oh yeah, Mark, so I think someone else answered my question for me, but no, my video was not a way of saying that I'm just going to disappear, and in fact, I will almost certainly not follow my own advice and use the Irish goodbye as my way of quitting. I will probably quit in a, like, an emotional funk, as I almost have several times now, and you know, make it very clear to everyone that I am being emo and melodramatic about my quitting. So I don't think anyone has to worry about me quitting streaming quietly. I have almost done it a couple times as a result of like work involvement, because, you know, when my employer gets upset at me because I'm posting too much on the internet, I, you know, have considered that, but. Ah! Boss sucks. Oh, seriously? Alright, that was better at least. Walked out of there with 1 life and a heart. but that's not enough. Alright, boxer lady, bring it on. Let's see how we go here. Alright, well, that didn't go so well. One life down, one life to go. Oh, jeez Louise. Seriously? I hadn't even come out of my freaking invincibility states yet. Oh my god. Try this again. So I think I'll get an extra life after this boss, because I'm getting 2,000 points per, and I get an extra life at 10,000 points. Oh. I don't know what to think now. Oh. Hey, it's the princess, maybe? I'm feeling like maybe not. Oh god. Alright, well. Alright, so I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to do here. I guess bounce off of things and then hit him in the eye, in the head. Oh, okay. So the thing in the front that's like electrical, I think that's what I'm supposed to hit? Okay, yes. Alright. How's that controller on that thing? I'm not sure I understand the question. I'm using a PS4 DualShock controller, and it works fine. That's what I've been using for a while. Hello, Professor Pie. How's it going? Oh, I'm not playing on an actual TurboGrafx16 Torch. Yeah, I'm always emulating. Sorry. Stupid question. Stupid, yeah. I have never seen a TurboGrafx16 in person in my life, so I cannot answer that question. Alright. You go ahead and do your thing. And bounce over my head. Throw a rock. Zeokim should do a house tour for us and show us what a TurboGrafx16 really looks like. Ow. Boom. I am Princess Za from Moonland. My people had been brainwashed. Help me get back to Moonland. I hope I don't have to, like, fight my way back there, because I'm kind of done with that. I mean, the music is very chill, but this feels like it's going to be another boss fight. Oh, no. Okay. To the moon! So, I'm confused. If the princess... Why did she just sit there and watch me? I feel like there's another boss coming. I feel like she wasn't actually the princess or something. Yeah. So I think, I mean, it's cleaning up the display a bit, but I think that the reality is that the graphics processor in the TG16 was, you know, ahead of its time, especially in 1989. You can see it in the design of the characters and other things like that, like we were talking about earlier. So while it's certainly the case that crispness of graphics is very different, I think part of the reason for that is just that, you know, you're not playing it on a CRT. Well, that did not work out so well. Alright, so hopefully my continue is going to take me to World 5-6. Hey, Professor Pi, I'm doing well. My Monday was okay. I got some coding work done. I've got a project I need to get done by next Tuesday. Oh, seriously? Alright, well, yeah, it is depressing. I agree. I didn't toss a save state because I didn't have a lot of life after this boss. I think I can do better. So why, yeah, here's what I don't get. She just sits up there on the crown of this thing? I don't know. Oh, jeez Louise. Someone just called me! Alright, so I should not try and hit it while he's jumping. It's just never gonna work. Oh. I say, and then I immediately jump for it as soon as it goes in the air again, because I'm a masochist. Anyway, yeah, so I've been having fun continuing to run the CPG Lounge. I edited a couple videos this weekend, played the Binding of Isaac run a few times. I have been avoiding arguing with people on Reddit, which is good for me. I have been continuing to try to help people on Reddit when their questions are simple, but Yeah. Yeah, we got both kind of profs, 420 and Pi. Oh, well that's helpful. It is an educated chat. I have some of the best people around in that chat. There you go. Thank you very much, Prop 420. Give you a CPG hat spin for that. Yep, Jess is doing decent. She's had a lot less pain in her foot, although today she was feeling good enough to actually get downstairs and do a bunch of stuff on her own, so now her foot hurts again. But tomorrow she's going in to have it looked at by the doctor. She may be getting her current cast off and replaced with a boot. Which would be great because she could take it off. So being able to take the boot off means that she would be able to do things like shower without having to put a bag over her leg and other things like that. So we're really hoping for that, hoping for good news on that tomorrow. So far, she has been healing pretty well. The doctor was able to take the stitches out like a week earlier than she expected and other things like that as well. So I think I'm hoping that she'll be able to be in good shape and get some mileage out of the amount of time that she's been spending just resting her leg in bed. Of course, the surgeon, when asked, you know, okay, well, can I get up and like do crutches or do stuff? The surgeon, in the way that surgeons are, offered in her helpful bedside manner, well, you know, anytime you spend out of bed is going to slow your healing, which has left Jess largely paranoid that anytime she moves the foot, she's going to, you know, drastically slow down her healing, when I think in fact it's just the surgeon being literal that, you know, your healing will be slower if you are not, you know, keeping it elevated or whatever. So I think the CPU in the SNES was better. But the graphics processor, I think, was similar. But again, that's mostly hearsay. I don't really know. I honestly have no idea, Cowdizzle. Oh god. That did not go well. I agree, Zeokim, but I also know that attempting to tell Jess that the doctor meant what they said, figured, like, you know, in a general sense and not literally, is not a winning fight for me. There are many things that I have learned in life, and when Jess has an idea of how something should go, it's generally not worth my time to try and argue it. Alright. Okay, so the CPU in the TurboGrafx16 was an 8-bit processor, but a fast one. And so it's a 6502 based processor, which is very similar to the, I'm pretty sure to the NES processor, but was a pretty good one to work with, compared to the SNES CPU, which is described in this particular review as balls slow. So despite the fact that it's 16-bit, it didn't really make a huge amount of difference. So this is a case where the architecture kind of overrides the architecture differences are not the important ones. So it certainly made a difference, but the TurboGrafx processor was thought of as being better, at least by this particular reviewer, who I have no idea if he knows what he's talking about or not. The Genesis CPU was a 6800K or 68K processor, which was much faster than either of them. But I think that was later. So I know that at least this game came out in 1989, which was definitely before the Sega Genesis. So it's interesting that the TurboGrafx16 is kind of included in the same class as the other 16-bit consoles, even though it came out significantly earlier. So yeah, the SNES was kind of known for having a slow CPU. Ugh. Lack of blast processing. There's actually a guy who, like, the engineer who accidentally coined that term and was like, I feel so embarrassed that this is what came out of that. You know, the technical term was literally just about the ability to, like, use a series of quick, like, assembly instructions or something to load in data. And he feels so bad that it became this marketing term that was used in, like, videos and advertisements and everything else like that. Like, it was a term that was meant to be applied to engineers, like, writing code, software engineers writing code, not to people buying a machine. I loved Road Rash on the Genesis. I actually played Road Rash in a stream. Is that it? Did I win? With like 1 life left? I don't even want to touch that thing in case it kills me. I have another life. That's good. Is there another boss again? Oh, she was silver. Of course, she was mind controlled. So now they're all gonna turn back to... I get to go back to Moonlandia. Oh, Moonland. I did it! Thank you so much, you set me free! I want to go back to the banana farm on Moonland. Thanks for saving Princess Za. Boxer lady? Man? I don't know. She looks female to me, but maybe I'm misgendering her. Yay! I win! Oh, oh my. Alligator. I wonder, do they still give, like, characters in video games funny names like this? I guess maybe I never beat any modern games, so I don't really know. Oh! The Oola Oopas. Henry Hatchet, Bill Duck, Fishbone, the Squibs. Alright. Ed Beaker. Egghead Errol is the name of the whale. Okay. The uvulas. The uvulalas. It's got two laws there. Thanks, Cowdizzle. Vulture. Vielcher. Ochness, the Ochness monster, the Loch Ness monster, Loch Ness. T-Rex. Yeah, it takes me a little bit to get these puns. I'm not very good at it. Google Eyes. Uh-oh. Trademark. Flora Springer. Flora Sprung. The good old CDI. I considered playing, there's like a Zelda CD game, I think. I considered playing that at one point. And then there's one other CDI, I don't know, like the earliest... there's some game that's like the earliest something or other. Actually, no, there's one game that was like a mystery thing that was like a full motion video mystery game that Jack Thompson hated or something along those lines because they thought it was corrupting youth. And it's like, you know, you have to save these cheerleaders before they get killed in a murder plot or something. Yeah, that was one I considered playing just because, you know, anything that like really pissed off the establishment. Punchy Pedro, I guess it's a guy. Night Trap, there you go. Torch Dread knows what I'm talking about. And Pseudo Za, and then Real Za, I guess. Yes, I've considered playing Night Trap because I thought that that would be funny. Oh yeah, that's right, they just re-released it. That was part of the reason I think it came up. T Tractor Head. Well, Torch Red, I appreciate you correcting me on all the silly things I say. I really appreciate everyone correcting me on the silly things I said and like hanging out and playing games with us. I know that Jose didn't really bother to be here all night long. Oh, hi, Jose. You know, but no, I'm glad that you all could make it out. It's great. We were missing you earlier, Jose. Oh, was this Sega CD? I thought that was on something else. Anyway. I mean, to be fair, the shade throwing wouldn't have happened had he not been there, but... Well, that's good. I think you should have slept for 18 hours. That was a good plan. Bye-bye. Yeah, I never had Sega CD. That was like an add-on to the Sega. You could like attach it on the side, right? So I had the 32X, which I guess was the add-on that you could plug into your Sega and then plug a game into that. And there were some games that took advantage of it and some that you just played the normal way. But never had the Sega CD. So yeah. I have another game, but I am actually not, I think, gonna play it. I know it's early, but honestly, I think that it would be better for me to just get used to going to bed a little bit earlier. I'm getting old. I don't think we're gonna play Chex Quest tonight. I think we'll save it. We'll save Chex Quest for another time. Next week, I don't know what I'm gonna play. This Friday, I don't know what I'm gonna play. I don't know what I'm gonna play at all. So if you all want to see, I'm not gonna play anything else tonight. I was thinking about it, but I'm just not going to. I'm gonna play nothing more. Yes, Chex Quest. I have Chex Quest downloaded. I checked it out, but we're not gonna play it tonight. Maybe I'll play some Chex Quest next week. We'll play some Chex Quest and then some Doom 2. I don't actually know how long Chex Quest is, so I don't know if that's something I could beat in an evening or not. But I'm just not up for it right now. I would be bad at a first-person shooter right now. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for hanging out. I am going to probably stay up for a little bit and watch some videos in the lounge. So if you have something cool that you think that I should watch, stop by the lounge. The lounge is linked in the chat. As soon as I type lounge, it'll be linked in the chat, and we'll hang out and watch some videos. So if you've got something you want to watch with other people, or you just want to hang out and say hi for a little while, come by, hang out. We can keep chatting or whatever. But I thank you all for being here. And again, Every Frame of Painting Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be watching all of Every Frame of Painting in the lounge, so stop by for that. If any of your friends are filmmaker interested or, you know, anything else like that, stop by for that. But for now, I'm gonna go watch some stuff over there. So CPG Rant on the lounge, follow this link right here, type CPG Rant in the chat. Next week, maybe we'll play some Chex Quest or something else like that, and I will see all of you later. Thank all you lovely folks, Maythroughs, Cowdizzle, Torched Red, Org Chaos, Zeo Kim for helping all the way through. Jose, good to see you at the very end here. Brad Pritchard, as well as Professor Pie, Professor 420, Born Depressed, Gaming Lawyer, and a bunch of other people who are not appearing in the chat right now because scrolling is way too hard. I will see all of you on Friday or Monday or whenever. Thanks for being here. I will see you later. Bye-bye.